I talk so much that these videos they time out on me. So, anyways, I just want to continue. So basically, I left off here in California, right? And so yeah, then from there, my daughter and I went right into Mexico, and oh my goodness, people. You know what? For me, it was like literally pretty much it was the greatest challenge in this entire journey that I've been on, this travel nomad journey that I've been on. The greatest challenge of testing myself in the most uncomfortable. I was the most uncomfortable I'd been in years or ever, was going into Mexico uneducated. Um, like I just assumed I got to the border. I just assumed that how could you not be at the border, right at the border of Canada or the USA and Mexico? How could they not speak English, right? And maybe they do. I don't know. Some people say, oh, they know it, and that's fine. It didn't matter. The fact that they didn't speak any English to me and I don't know Spanish, it was for me. It was still for me. And there was a whole bunch of crazy shit that happened that right after that too, there was fireballs thrown at me. Like, so that was right off the bat. I knew I was supposed to get an FMM, which is your 180-day piece of paper that says you can stay there for 180 days and then you got to get out. And I didn't even know where to go for that. And I didn't I had read online that it was like right there in some building off to the side. Like I left the border in Tijuana, and I'm like, just all of a sudden they said go, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And I started driving, and I'm just like, I couldn't read any of the signs, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm on this highway. I'm just all of a sudden driving on the highway. I didn't know what to do. I was like a little kid that just came out of the womb. I didn't know, like, whoa, what's this? Like, holy shoot, and like, oh my God, it was crazy. I was like just beyond overwhelming, and I was just driving along, and my daughter was kind of freaking out too because I was freaking out, and like it was nuts, man. It tested the crap out of both of us, and then I got down to Ensenada, which is like an hour away or whatever, and I'm just like, we slept that night and we kind of calmed down a little bit. Yeah. And she was like, get me on a plane and get me out of here. But it did pass. So, there is light at the end of this story. But oh my goodness, this was crazy. Even before we got to Ensenada, I got pulled over. See, I had my, because of my camper on the back, I had my tailgate down. I had like this rack on the back of my thing. So, and I had never, I came all the way across Canada and the US and I never got pulled over. And yet my license plate was still in its original spot, which was totally not visible. But yet it took all the way across Canada, and I had multiple officers, OPP, police officers, whatever they're called, state troopers, all around me at all the time, and never had an issue. So I never thought about it. I didn't even do, but of course I got just barely into Mexico and I got pulled over. Oh my goodness. And they didn't speak any English, and I didn't even understand I didn't even understand what I did wrong. I'm in the slow lane going slow. Oh man, I was like, this is nuts. It was, my nerves were shot. Oh my goodness. And so he finally, the police officer or whatever they're called, I forget in Mexico, but the guy finally typed on his phone and it said that my plate wasn't visible. And I'm like, oh, okay. And of course it's very different there, right? Like, I know some of you are going to watch this and you're going to be like, well, you should have did this, or you don't do this, or blah, blah, blah. But again, I didn't know anything. I didn't really research anything ahead of time. I just thought I was just fine to drive into Mexico like any other country. And I didn't, need to know anything. I don't know. It was complete culture shock. So I got down in there and yeah. So, I mean, of course they took my license and they're like, follow me. And then I got to the thing and they were like, you got to pay this amount of money. And the guys, one guy did speak English, the head officer guy at the station, and he was like, you gotta pay this much money. This is your fine. And he's showing me it in Spanish. He like, do you understand what this says? And I'm like, no, he could have been showing me I killed somebody for all I know. I don't know. And then, but I didn't know any better. And I just, I'm down the street at a variety store. My daughter's crying. I'm trying to get money out of the machine. It was crazy. Oh, but you know what? Again, it's all for me. Like I view it now. It's like, man, thank you. I'm grateful for it. Like it was fireballs, but holy crap. Like, honestly, I needed to have that so that way, I don't know, I could go on and on. Like, if that sort of thing happens again in the future, I'm just going to recognize that feeling, those emotions. I'm going to deal with it, no problem. Maybe not no problem, but I'll handle it just a little bit with more ease. Or maybe my lesson was to do a little bit more research before I go into different countries and things, or who knows what. But anyways, it was a crazy entrance. That's for sure. That's putting it lightly. I was like, wow, you know. And of course, yeah, and we didn't get our FMMs, right? They're a 180-day piece of papers. But I woke up the next morning in Ensenada. We were out on this gorgeous, like way up high on these cliffs, right out on the ocean, and you know, it's kind of just taking it in the morning. And I'm thinking, man, something don't feel right. I really think I was supposed to get that. And, you know, so I started messaging on Facebook, and people are like, yeah, you need to go back to the border, man. And then one person, because most people were like, you got to go all the way back to the border. One person said to me, I believe there's a port in Ensenada. And I was just outside of Ensenada, and sure enough, I finally found a place, and the guy spoke English, and I wasn't at the right place, but he directed me to the port, and I went to the port, and we got our FMMs, and we got our pieces of paper, and so all was good after that. It was still like driving through Baja was still a little nerve-wracking because, you know, in hindsight, I would have learned a little bit more Spanish, you know, just the basics. I highly recommend it to you guys. If you're listening to this and you haven't been to Mexico and you want to go to Mexico, please just take a little bit of time, learn hello, how are you, have a nice day, goodbye, I don't know, how you get a coffee, whatever you think might be important or significant. Learn a little bit of money. You know, everything is money. Like, no matter what, you go buy something, or like you're getting gas or whatever, like everything they're going to tell you is this much money. Like, learn a little bit of the basic money. Like, anyways, that's my recommendation. I still don't know very much Spanish at all. I've been taking lessons. My Spanish teacher is amazing. You know, she comes right to, my house when I was down there in Mexico. I actually bought a house in Mexico. Yeah, it's crazy, all the beautiful things that that happen for you when you put yourself in a brighter light. You know, you guys, things can go your way very, very easily. There's no need to struggle through life. It's just a matter of recognizing that you need to make some changes, or just adapting in a different way. And trust me, I say that with light and ease, and it's not easy at all. It's very difficult. You know, anything that is difficult, or the harder road, is often the better road, and ends up paying off in bigger dividends, and is much more you know, for you. But, you know, so when you take the easy route and you stay with what's comfortable and what's working, it's not the answer most of the time, I don't think. But you know, that's just my opinion and my advice. Anyway, so yeah, but you know, once things did settle, you know, I started to learn a few words. You know, it was a process, it was gradual, and then I started to meet a few Mexicans that spoke English a little bit, and they kind of helped. And, you know, once you just start, see, it's, you know, Canada and the US are very similar. Like, there's differences, don't get me wrong, there's differences, they're different countries, but they're very similar. Right? Like, everyone speaks English. The signs are in English. I don't know, like, you know, money's different or whatever, and the exchange is different, and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, like, you're not going to drive, if you're a Canadian and you drive into the US, you're not going to be culture shocked. If you're American and you drive into the Canada, you're not going to be culture shocked. You just go about the same way you've always been going about. There's so many similarities. There's a lot of differences. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not but you go into another country where the language is different, and you don't understand the signs, and you don't understand and if you're someone that's like me, that just absolutely loves engaging with other people and communicating, and all of a sudden you can't, whoa, you know, whoa, oh man, yeah, But so, it's just like anything, like I was talking about with taking the training wheels off, learning to ride a bike, you get better at things, and it takes time. And so it did get easier, it did get smoother, it did get more comfortable. And yeah, I spent the entire winter down there. My daughter flew back in December, back to home in Ontario, and it was an incredible journey for both of us. It was nice. Most of us have kids, and even if you're close to them, if you resonate with this, maybe that they get to a certain age, especially that age, right, when they finish high school and things, and they disappear on you in a good way. They start their own lives, and they start, just going off. So and she was already doing that, right? She'd created her own new life and stuff, and she was doing her thing, and it's amazing. I'm so proud of her, and I'm so encouraging of that. And we don't see each other as much anymore, and I'm okay with that, because she's I'm on my own path and my own journey, and so is she, and it's beautiful. It's good to, of course, us as parents, we love our children to death, and we do anything for them. And, you still want to, hold on to that connection. But, I hope that if anyone that's listening to this recognizes the importance that it's a balance. You still want to, be a parent, but you really want to let them spread their wings and be free as well. So it is a fine line between being too much and giving them freedom completely. No, I mean, I give her complete freedom, but I still, and I think when you do it in the right way, and you're cautious and about the balance and all of it, I think that they respect that. They respect that, and they will listen to you more when you become, a little bit more of a friend than a parent. Everyone's going to have their own opinion on this. I'm not looking for someone to correct what I'm saying here. It's just how I've gone. I still try and get my 2 cents in a little tiny bit with her, which she appreciates. I think that they'll listen to you as long as you two also recognize and praise them, and are proud of them, and tell them that how amazing it is of what they're doing, and the journey that they're on, and the path that they're on, and that it's okay to fail, it's okay to fall, it's okay to all of that. It's all okay, because it's all for you, right? It's all for you. See, but a lot of us don't. I say that a lot in my videos, for you, and and a lot of you will resonate with that and understand what I'm saying, but there's a lot of you that don't. And that's because you think that when things happen in life that are challenging, that it's happening to you instead of for you, which is wrong. It is wrong. It is. It's a mentality that we've inherited that is wrong. Because even when things don't go your way and things happen, it's a challenge for you to learn something. Again, I'm not a professional, but I'm quite aware of this, and because I view that now. Like, I went onto a beach in Mexico, and, my daughter was with me, and I just hammered it, and I'm like, I can get up this sandy hill over here, and no problem. And I saw tracks going up this deep sandy hill. I'm like, I was buried. I mean, I was buried, like, to the point where my wheels are just spinning freely. My whole truck was sitting on sand. And she was like the whole time going, Dad, no. And I'm like, it's okay, buddy. I got this. No problem. Don't worry about it. Right. And so again, like a terrible moment in time, you look around, there's nobody. I'm on a secluded beach. There's nobody anywhere. But of course, over the next course of a couple of hours, or not even, like right away, all of a sudden this couple of Mexican families came out of the blue, out of nowhere. And the next thing I know, they're hooked up to my truck trying to pull me. They only had a couple of light little pickup trucks. They couldn't end up budging me, but I was thankful and grateful. And I've stayed connected with one of them. And so is my daughter. And then, of course, next thing I know, it's just about getting dark. And all of a sudden this, earth roamer pulls in. And I don't know if any of you know, some of you will know what an earth roamer is, but man, they're like a tank. It's like insane. It's this giant 4x4 insane vehicle that's like got a winch on the front and the back and like is like, will pull a house along. Like and I'm like, what? And of course, the guy got stuck himself. So it was like, I knew in my head that if I just went over and just got dirty and got right in there and dug the crap out of the guy would just come over and pull me out. Like, and that's exactly what happened, right? I didn't say anything. I just went over and helped. And then afterwards I was like, hey, I'm totally screwed and buried over there. And he's like, oh man, no problem, man. I'll be right over. Like, and it was just, that was it. Right. And, and then I talked to him after and he's like, yeah, it was getting dark and we just pulled into the beach area. We weren't just going to keep going. Well, I wasn't going to stop here. I was just going to keep going. And there's the universe for you, tap into the beauty, like change your look, go inside, telling you things will go your way even when you think they're not going your way, right? So even in that moment, I've had, and I've been stuck in the mountains when there was no one around and I, shouldn't have been where I was and, got out of those situations too. So you just remain calm and know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and just believe that it's for you and for something to learn. There's something to learn in there and that's it. So Mexico was a complete gift to me, even though it started out with the fireballs. It was incredibly beautiful after that. I haven't explored all. I keep talking about Mexico. I've really only been to Baja, the peninsula south of California, there along the coast. That's the only place I've been. I can't wait to go to the mainland. So I can reference Baja. I explored it. I didn't purchase my house down there until near when I left at the end of the season and just a few months ago. So most of the time I just had my truck, my camper, and I roamed around all over. It's beautiful. There's secluded beaches all over the place that you can go off, and it's not just beaches. You can go off into the mountains and things, and you guys, you need to lose the fear, people talk about the cartel and it's just all this. Well, you know what? Unless you're looking for drugs or any other kind of activity that's not healthy, you're not even going to notice it. It doesn't come looking for you. You don't go looking for it. Simple as that. If you do, well, then you're going to find it and it's there. And who knows? I can't tell you what's going to happen. That's your choice. So I had nothing but beautiful experiences and love from, everyone. And, oh my gosh, I just love the culture. The culture is so colorful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I'm so grateful for the fact that I got to introduce to it. I was guided to go there. I'm just blessed. I'm just truly blessed. Anyways, I spent the entire winter there. My daughter flew back halfway through, back to Ontario, and I left there as it was starting to get a little too hot, but I also knew I had some things to take care of, so I came back to Ontario, which led me in a different direction. I came diagonally across the U.S., entered the far side of the Baja near Yuma. I forget the name of the Mexican town I came through, which was totally interesting. A small little town, and Saint Algodones or something like that. And it's crazy, man. Like, it's got like 400 dentists in this little town. 400 dentists. It was like, I didn't even understand what was going on. And then I got it all explained to me, but it was crazy. Like, anyways, it was something to see, that's for sure. So, and then Arizona, Grand Canyon I went to, came across Bryce Canyon and Utah people. If you haven't been to Utah, there's mountains everywhere and there's a lot of similarities. Alaska can be compared to like Banff and Jasper, and I'm on my way to Montana and that area, and I believe that's going to be similar looking to Banff and Jasper and things like that in Alberta. And but oh my goodness, Utah, holy shooting doodles, guys. Like, Utah is just wow. I mean, the colors and the layers and these sheer giant rock faces is just, it'll just blow you out of the water. If you haven't seen it, you got to go and see it. Utah's, I mean, and I'm sure there's so much I didn't even see, but what I came through the Bryce Canyon area, like I said, and I not far from Zion and near Moab and things, and then of course you go, and it's an instant transition. It's interesting when you go in from Utah into Colorado, and Colorado also switches back to, you know, wildernessy mountains, right? And that was cool. You know, it was already summertime almost, and you know, you go up high enough in the top of mountains, and you still got big giant snowbanks and things, and that was kind of cool. I was making snowballs and putting them on the back of my tailgate and stuff like that, and I was like posting on Facebook saying, "Anybody wants to have a snowball fight? I'm ready." You know, it's kind of funny. It's like the end of June, right? Anyways, yeah. So and Colorado's beautiful. It struck me as a little bit, you know, money stricken, a little bit, yeah, it was interesting even just coming from Mexico into the States. It was almost like exactly the same. It was like literally a border. You know, you went from Mexico and you know, there's a lot of poverty and just, you know, just people are just living with what they have, and there's no extra money for anything, and there's no extra anything. There's just survival, right? And that really humbled me too. Just to jump back a little bit, jumping into Mexico really humbled me, because, you know, all my life I've been around, just the norm for me was to be in this southern Ontario, which is just like a lot of places and, you know, cities with money. You see big buildings, people have money, there's boats, there's trailers, there's things, you know. You go down into Mexico, and of course a lot of other countries, I don't even like, I wouldn't even, I almost said third world country. That's a terrible, they're a first world country to me, man. It's gorgeous. I could live there like permanently, and I may.